Is this the right one? All right. Mayanzeke?
What's up, brother?
There you go.
How you doing, man?
All right, then. How are you?
I'm good, eh? It's a Saturday afternoon, so it's
Yeah,
crazy, it's busy, it's family, but
yeah.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good, and I'm glad
Uh,
I could make it this time.
ah,
It's been
yeah,
crazy, man. You know how it is. The hustle never stops, so
yeah, absolutely.
you just continue hustling. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I obviously hit my face there because this moment is about you. You're the one who needs to tell the people here in Rustenburg during this Rustenburg Film Festival how we go about innovative film distribution. So you the star. That's why I'm gonna switch off and not be seen because you're the one who knows the stuff.
No, I mean, I don't think you need to switch off. I think distribution it's about a conversation, right? I think it's
Yeah, yeah.
important that we continue to talk. I mean,
Okay.
I can't claim to be an expert, but I have
Yeah,
experience
yeah,
in the business. But I'll be definitely keen to engage. And also, I think we're gonna keep this conversation as relaxed as possible.
yeah.
I didn't
Absolutely.
normally, I do these big presentations, but it's important
Mm,
that people I give as much time to questions as well. I give as much time to the conversation. So
absolutely. No, thank you. Truly appreciate your time, and I know it's busy, like you're saying, and for you to spend this moment and engage with us, it's really really appreciated. But there are people that are watching this on the venue because the Rustenburg Film Festival decided to do a hybrid of both live and both on venue audiences.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we've
yeah,
got people that are watching from the venue, and we also have people that are watching online. Obviously, due to these COVID regulations, there are people that couldn't make it to the venue
yeah,
because the venue can take maximum of 50. So we
yeah,
thought,
yeah,
let's just do this. And then a lot of them watch. So they will be participating online as well. If they have questions, we're just going to pop them up on the screen for you. But like you
yeah,
said,
yeah,
let's have a relaxed conversation, man. Let's have a
yeah,
relaxed
yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So,
So should we start? I give you a quick intro,
yeah,
I guess, for everyone, right?
absolutely.
So my name is Mayanzeke Baza, and I run a sales distribution, financing, and production company called AAA Entertainment. We're based out of Johannesburg. I do work globally as a business, and I've been in the business for the past 6 years in distribution. But let's say 7 years actually. It's been 7 years. But I've been in the film and television business for almost 18 years. Started, of course, making my own programs as well, and directing some stuff that I love. And yeah, and I moved to distribution. So I think, I mean, the conversation today, I guess, for the interest of the viewers, those who are at the hall as well as those online, I'm just going to talk purely from the perspective of what distribution is about. I think there's always a myth around what distribution is and how people view distribution. And oftentimes people view distribution as the last part of the business, right? As let me try and make my things and think about distribution later. And once some come when something is finished, some come maybe when they are a script phase, thinking, now or when they want to go get money from someone, they've been asked, go get us a distribution. As you know, Kia does a lot of that. He'll come and ask and say, give me a letter of interest. What the heck is that? But I do think just to make people understand, what the value of distribution. And I put it this way, when you create a property, and again, this goes across all industries, whether in the film and television, whether in the agricultural sector, in the clothing sector, whatever industry you're in, distribution is always a key part. So when you're creating something, a film in this sense, often as a creator, you're not in touch with your audience. So the audience comes through different forms. and the audience is more closer to the exhibition side. Now, exhibition is whether it be your cinema, can be an exhibition where people go to cinema to go watch a movie. Television can also form part of exhibition, which is when you watch Mubango or Generations on SABC. That is considered exhibition. Whether you watch it on a platform like Netflix or Showmax or DSTV, that is considered exhibition. Now, audiences are more in touch with the exhibition. They get to watch, and that's your market. Now, as a creator, you are very far removed from the audience most of the time. The only audience you have is your family, right? Is Mr. B, is your wife, is your kid, is your grandmother, or is your friends. That's probably the one you are almost closer to and you interact with on a daily basis. So that becomes, I guess, your test point as a creator. So in this case, and the reason I'm trying to say, Sue, you can say as a creator, there's exhibition and you are here. Now, between that, there's different mechanisms for your platform to get into that exhibition space. Now, as distributors or as well as sales agents, is that we are often closer to the exhibition space. We know what it means to deliver to them. And sometimes I think people, once they've created something, they think they can just put it on SABC, or they can just put it on in cinema, or they can just throw it on Netflix or Showmax. And it doesn't work like that. There's certain things you have to meet in order for your thing to get in there. The video profile, the video format has to work for SABC. The language format has to work for SABC. There's a lot of deliverables that goes, and there's a lot of paperwork you have to sign someone's rights. You can't just put someone on screen without having to make them happy, or to have created an agreement with them to say, I'm going to put you on screen. Those people can sue you. Imagine, I see myself one day, I'm on SABC. No one has ever told me, or someone took a picture of me. So that's all part of distribution.
Yeah.
And often.
Yeah. And while you are there, and while you are there, I've met a lot of people, especially filmmakers, strangely, who go. It goes like this. They say, I'm working on this concept. I'm putting it together, and then I'm going to take it to Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah. And most people do that. I think the issue again is people do not understand the value chain, right? And the value chain of creating content, you do have development, which is part of creation, which is what as a creator you'll do. Then you have to finance the property. You have to produce, firstly, develop, finance, produce it, and then deliver to your platform. Now, all those parts of the value chain are all as important. And distribution, I always say, is the first part. Now, distribution is who is going to be your audience? Who's going to be your market? Whatever you're creating, where is it going to go? Who's going to watch it? Now, I'm not saying everyone is going to be able to answer that question. There's times where people try something without knowing who the market and there's bigger successes. But oftentimes, and if I bring it back, let's say you are making shoes and you are a shoemaker. You decide, today I'm going to make brown shoes, right? You haven't asked if anyone wants to wear brown shoes. You go make brown shoes. You go to the market. People say, no, the trend is now we're wearing blue shoes. Now, what are you going to do to your brown market? So you're going to paint them blue. But had you gone to the market first and say, hey, if I made brown shoes, will you wear them? They say, yeah. Maybe they will have told you, no, we want blue shoes. And if they're blue shoes, what style must these shoes look like? You say, oh, okay, cool. They must be like this, like Kika Mpoboza. They must be flat. They'll give you, the market will tell you. And oftentimes in our industry, the creators don't do that. They don't actually find out what the market is looking for and what the market is asking. Us as distributors, we are always facing the market, and we get feedback all the time. They say, this year the trend is romantic comedies, or this year the trend is gospel movies, or this year is faith-based films, or is action. So all the time the exhibitor is telling us and saying, okay, this is what we want, because we are doing the deal. And also part of the distribution deal is, is to protect people from getting sued. And I made an easy example. You go and you take something, you take someone's music, or you take someone's picture, and you go put it on a platform on SABC, and then someone says, oh, I just saw your music being played, and you never signed anything. They come back and sue you. But had you considered or had you understood that you needed to be talked to, or needed to talk to a distributor, or have to kind of understand the distribution space, you will avoid most of those things. So I think the key thing is what I'm trying to say is, when you're creating a property, the value of distribution is that it helps you understand who you're going to take it to. It helps you understand who wants your property and which audience maybe it might go to. And again, there's never like showcases. You might be making a film, and it does not have to. And you go to a distributor and they say, no, this is not going to work, and you continue to make it and finance, then it works. So I think that's my intro around distribution. But I mean, coming back to the topic about innovative ways of distribution, I think if you are in a place like Rustenburg, you're often very far from what's called major cities, and it's always what people complain about. It's like, if I'm not in Johannesburg, I'm never going to get distribution, or I'm not going to get a distributor. Or if I'm not in Cape Town, I'm not going to get a distributor. There's no one in Rustenburg. But we have something called internet, right? And the internet is full of information. I think it's where people can get most of their of what they need. You can search there how to get myself to platforms, or who the distributors. We mostly work online. I mean, now COVID has proven, right? COVID-19 has hit us hard. Now, all of a sudden, people are like, whoa, how do we do things in this COVID space? All of a sudden, they understand that internet is an important thing, right? Because of COVID. But before, they were like, yeah, who cares about internet? I want to drive to Joburg. But now everyone is like, internet is very important. So I do think face-to-face. There's many ways, I think, or there's many ways of getting your content into the market. There's many online platforms. And oftentimes, let's say if I were to direct to up and coming filmmakers, new entry filmmakers, is online. If you created something, put on YouTube to realize if there's an audience. So it's always a good test. But also, there's lots of online platforms that can take from short films to feature length. It's always something that helps. Of course, you can make stuff that can go to ABC or ETV or Mnet, or Netflix or Showmax, or even the global market. I mean, I can't limit you and say this is not the right platform for you, but it comes down to the right product. Yesterday I was doing a talk at the DFM. So the one lady says to me, hey, listen, I've got a film here, and I've got a television series, and these are going to be the most amazing television series. All I need now is distribution, because everyone tells me in order to make my amazing, wonderful, groundbreaking feature films, I just need distribution. So my question was, is this your first feature film? Yes. Have you made anything before? No. So how do you know that your first thing is going to be amazing? How can you prove that it's going to be? And how is distribution? How is distribution going to make it amazing? So
I want to come in there, because the interesting bit here is it's you and I here now on these two screens, and I'm representing the filmmaker, because I know a lot of filmmakers that are watching this right now are going, no, but as a filmmaker, I want to tell my stories, and now there's this thing of limitations. And like a parent, whenever we give birth to something, whether it's a story, whatever, it's always beautiful. We that's why I think that is why, if I can defend creatives, it's why we always think that this is going to make money, this is going to be a success, this is going to be a hit. I'm sure you get that a lot, right?
No, I mean, see, Mr. B, I think it's important, right? When you're creating something, you gotta love it. You have to be able to believe in it. If you don't believe in it, I'll be like, why are you bringing your stuff to me, right? So it's important that you do believe in it. But what I'm saying now, when you are facing someone who's gonna give you money to make it, they're not gonna see it the way you see it, right? You gotta convince them. But also, if they don't see the way you see it, you need to be open-minded to think, okay, maybe there's something there to change. You could go ahead and make it without their money. But when you want someone else's money, you have to be able to listen to what they tell you. And of course, you have to believe. But the danger is that when you love your baby, no one has ever said to imagine if you have a child, someone says your child is ugly. No one ever believes their child is ugly, right? Everyone always thinks their child is the most beautiful thing in the world. Even if you look, you see, hey, this child is ugly. But to them, it's like this is the most precious thing. So I think it's important for creatives to feel that way because it makes us believe. But the danger is when you are trying to get your property into the market and the audience, or you're trying someone else to put money into it, you must be open to being criticized. You must be open. Hence, it's always good to go to distributors, because distributors can negotiate for you with whoever the financer or the platform to say, this is what it is. And then they come back to you and tell you your baby is beautiful. Then they go to the creator and say, okay, if you don't like this baby, let's chop off the leg and let's chop off the ears. But to you, it says, no, we're never going to chop off the ears and the legs. The baby is beautiful, right? So I think that's always it's normal for creators to feel like that.
Yeah. So obviously, but then how do you approach this? And I do remember you did mention that at the end of the day, filmmakers, we believe that we want to tell stories to our audiences. And I've always asked, whenever I hear somebody say that, do you have an audience? Because you are a farmer, but do you have access to everybody that is walking down the street? Or you have to take your farm produce to a market, and then it is within that market then that the people at the market are the ones that know the audiences. Is it true? What's your take on that? Does a filmmaker actually have an audience?
Yeah, I think it could go either way, right? But what's been proven is that so filmmakers should definitely be before they create, they should first find out who the market is. And I think we also do watch a lot of content. So things like markets, things like festivals, things like online platforms can test your product. You can take it there and see if people really like it. But I do think the tricky part is sometimes you may be sure that your product is going to be great and you believe in it. You think it's a great story, and the market can reject it. But once it's finished, it may look amazing and the market might want it again. So those are like 1% chances versus the 99%. Almost everything that's on any platform is always based on the market test, on the audience. So what you see on AC, and there are cases, of course, where people have gone along, made their properties, and it became amazing, and people were surprised. But if you are taking someone's money, and if you are trying to finance something, it's always best to test it against the market. Then that way you mitigate the risk of losing someone's money. If you're using free money, then maybe it's something you could look at, right? But I think it's always I would say you have better chances of winning if you first go to the market before you create something.
Absolutely. Wow. Hey, this is very, very insightful. And we are always we're always thinking we've got our babies, we love our babies, and our babies have to get out there. Now, tell me something about the stories that we tell. At what level? What should I visualize as a filmmaker? Who am I? Am I telling the story to the community? Do I have to visualize me telling the story to the entire world? What are your suggestions there?
Yeah. See, there's different levels as well of filmmakers, Mr. B. There are people with experience who've tested their thing all the time, right? They've made a lot of films, so they've found a market before. And then there's those who are new in the market. My advice, oftentimes, I always say, if you've never made something before, don't go and try. Let's say if you've never built a car, then you decided you're going to go build a bus. Doesn't work like that, right? You just started building something now, or you've never built a house before, but you want to build a palace. So it doesn't always work like that. So I think for me, if you are new, or you are starting up, it's always advisable to create short form content. Short form content is always the best test for your skills, because at the same time you also have to test your skills. There's storytelling, but there's also creating the thing so that people get to watch it. I meet a lot of people who have amazing ideas and amazing stories to tell, but in the execution, what they were trying to to tell doesn't come out nicely, because they haven't really managed to have to hone the craft and the skill to create what's in their mind. And in order to do that, it takes a lot of practice. So practice is key. You get to practice as many times in order to master something. So, and I'll say, maybe start making short films, especially when you enter. But if you're someone who's super experienced and you've been making films, great films, it's important then that you think about distribution or think about the market. You'll have made mistakes, and then that let me know who my audience, who am I creating this thing for? At the end of the day, Mr. B, we are all here to earn a living, right? I don't know of anyone who says I'm in the business just because I like to play, right? And I assume this is the career for most of us, and we all hope that one day we'll be able to make it big. We compare ourselves against all these global audiences that we watch, whether it be Hollywood, whether it be French, whether it be Chinese market or Latin American. We watch all these things. We grew up watching Chinese movies or soapies and all these things that are not created in this country. So we always measure ourselves against that. And the reason for that is because we think we want to make a living out of it. You don't want to wake up in the morning and go to a job and then don't earn anything. So if you want to make money, if you want to earn a living, if you want this to be a career, you have to think of your audience for sure. Because who's going to be buying your property? Of course, you have to train yourself. You have to get yourself to a place where you feel like, I'm ready to create something big. Or if not, let me find other funds that exist that can help me just to train my skills. You have a lot of commissions. Let's say you have the National Film and Video Foundation that offers bursaries to university. It also offers short form financing, short documentary financing, feature film financing, development of stories. That's free money for you to go and be able to play. With short films, you can play as much as you want, and you don't have to pay back short films money. They give it to you for free. Go make as many, and it's a lot of money. 100,000, 200,000 rands. It's a lot of money. I will go to the NFVF and play and play and play. Once I feel like I'm strong, then I'll go ask for someone else's money. And then, of course, depending which province, I don't know. How in Rustenburg, if there is some financing, but you could go to KZN Film Commission. You could go to Gauteng Film Commission, where they also have some money where it allows you to hone your skills to a certain degree. And I think more and more I say to people, if you can find an opportunity to create something so that you can learn before you can go and approach someone else with their money. And then you can say, this is what I've done and this is what I think I can do. So, and we all have stories. We all have great stories to tell, and we need to tell our stories. It's important. It's an important part of our industry of the society. But we mustn't take it as if it's a place of playing. This is not charity. This is a business. This is a career for most people. This is where you're supposed to have sustainable income. You need to be working. You need to be earning a living. You need to be putting bread on the table. And you can do it in this industry as long as you do it very well. And all that, it all comes down to distribution at the end of it.
Yeah. But now, coming back to that, Mayanzeke, you are the middleman. And I know that there is a whole lot of there's a lot of filmmakers that are under the impression that they need to cut out the middleman. Everyone is going cut out the middleman. Go straight. How possible? How feasible is that? And what can you say about that?
Yeah. I was like that. I was like that, right? I think when I also started the business, I always wanted to cut out the middleman. I think even in other businesses, it's always easy to cut out the middleman. And until you understand what the role of the middleman is, then you can cut them out. If you don't understand the role of the middleman, and you don't understand, or you don't know how to even do that role of the middleman, then you can't cut it out. It's like I give an example in the real estate industry, and you decide, no, I'm looking for a house, but I'm gonna cut out these estate agencies. I'm gonna go directly to the buyers. It's gonna be difficult unless you know who the buyers are. You're sorry, who the sellers are, and unless you know, like, all of them, you can have those relationships, because some sellers you don't have a relationship with, and and that's basically what it is, even in the industry. So you can try and cut out the middleman, but you don't have a relationship with the SABC or Mnet or ETV or Netflix or the global market. The middleman often has stronger relationship, and for a long time they've worked to master that relationship. So once you get to a stage where you can cut out the middleman, I would say, yeah, for sure, cut out the middleman. But if you don't even know what the role of the middleman is, then what are you going to be cutting out? For me, I think that's always the thing. And I hear lots of people that, people come to me, complain about the commission. Even again, and this is not necessary to new entry filmmakers in the industry. This is to what's called experienced filmmakers, people who've been making this thing. They say, yeah, your commission is too much. So I ask, no, do you know what I do with my commission? No. Sorry. Hey, COVID. I said, do you know what
this is what I should have done. While you're coughing, I was supposed to do this so that, you don't want people not visiting you thinking, hey, that guy's got COVID.
Yeah, but yeah, my point is, like, it's like you want me to cut out my commission. You said it's too expensive, but you don't even know what the commission is for. And you don't know what I do with that commission. You can cut it out if you feel like you can pay for some of the things that I take care of. You can go to the markets, you can talk to the people. All I need to do, I just need to put your thing onto that platform. You can cut it out, but it's all about understanding the role of the middleman. If you don't understand the role of the middleman, it makes no sense for you to cut it out. And we don't, as middlemen, it's not like we do an easy job. The reality, especially in South Africa, to be honest, there's not many middlemen, and distribution is really there's few of us, I guess, who do the business, who do what we do, because distribution can only thrive when there's a lot of content to be sold, or a lot of content to be involved. South Africans in general, they're not creating a lot of content. They're not creating enough content to feed even what the broadcasters are in need of. So what often happens, the exhibitors tend to create the content themselves. And I use an example like Mnet create their own content, SABC create their own content, ETV, they do a lot of that. They buy little from the people because just not a lot is being created. But the difficulty of making something that can land on these exhibition spaces is difficult. I say, it's how many films are being made currently. And if you look how many films are being played every day on SABC or Mnet, or just besides films, if let's look at a lot of people want to make feature films, right? But if you look at SABC, how many times do you see them playing movies? Like few times, because there's not enough. And what you see they play is normally international stuff that comes in. I guess same thing as Mnet, same thing as ETV. There are always, of course, made for TV movies, but also because those are commissioned by the exhibitor, then people tend to make them. But it's difficult just to finance from scratch, because not many people have the skill, or not many people have kind of mastered the craft and able to finance something they can sell to those exhibition spaces. So it is a process. It's actually a process. So I would say, again, come there. If you want to cut out the middleman, master what the middleman is doing, then you can
and have all that access that the middleman has. Because you as a filmmaker, okay, I'm going to talk from my perspective, because as a filmmaker, I want to create a film, I want to package a film, and then I'm good at doing what I do, but I want to move it to somebody else who is like you, who's going to take it somewhere else with your own expertise, whilst I go on to my next film. Because if I'm going to do it myself, it means that I'm going to have to complete this film, everything, and then from there I must spend another year, if not 2 years, selling it, you know. And if I have to try and sell it in between selling it and in between making other movies as well, obviously I'm compromising something. And will I know A, B, C, D? Will I know all that? So while we are there, Mayanzeke, Mr. Baza, please take us through these various platforms. I know there's airlines, I know there's that. Please just take us through all these possible places where a film can go, so that maybe someone watching this can comprehend that, look, do I know anyone at Emirates to take my film? Do I know anyone at SAA, at Ethiopian Airlines? Can you just take us through those various, but where a film can go? I'm gonna pop something on the screen now for people to drop in their questions on this number. Anyone who has got a question, feel free now to drop those questions, because we have about 20 minutes left with Mr. Baza. So drop in your questions, and while you take that one,
Yeah, I would say probably airlines at the moment with COVID aren't going anywhere. So it's probably not a viable platform to go into. But, you know, it's, of course, it is one of the lucrative places you can place your film on. So if I take it, you know, the time of DVDs, I know some parts in South Africa still have the luxury of having DVDs. You know, that used to be, you know, a place where people could take their films to, when could make it and sell to DVDs. So you have what's called cinema, right? Where if you made something that can go to cinema, which is a theatrical release, that's number one. And or you could take it to television, which is there's a lot of different television platforms. You know, you have also you have multi-choice DSTV, you have SABC free to air, you have ETV also free to air, you have also Starset. So there's all these different television entities you can take your phone to. You also do have what's called OTT, over the top, or as well what's known as streaming services. So there's variety of streaming services. There's a lot of them even in South Africa that exist. You have Showmax, which is what mostly people know, which is part of the MultiChoice group. You have Netflix, which has just come into the market. You have all the other ones, to be honest, I don't know. I mean, there's VIU, which is also in the market. Those are the three big ones I can say. There used to be something called Iroko in the continent, but I see it's also dwindling in the. That service is a lot of Nollywood content, but also they did buy a lot of South African content. You might have other broadcasters, you know, in Africa. You have Canal Plus, you have RTR, you have Eden, you have some broadcasts in Nigeria, you've got some stuff in Namibia, Botswana. There's all these different broadcasters you can go to. And at the same time, there's other platforms, what is called, like you mentioned, like in-flight sales. You can do what's called in-flight sales, which is airlines. Now, with airlines, it's always been difficult for filmmakers to go directly because they just don't want to be signing a contract with each and every person. So in-flights are run by mostly agencies, but you could get your film onto SAA if SAA is ever going to come back into business, right? You can get your film into SAA and or all the airlines that leave South Africa. You know, Ethiopian, like you mentioned, Kenya Airlines, Lufthansa, you can KLM, Emirates. I mean, all these airlines, Qatar Airways, they do pay good money. You know, they pay between $1,000 to $5,000, you know, a film. And this seems like small money, but if someone gives you 80,000 rands, it's not really small money just for your film to be in the airline for people to watch. So you have a variety of all these different point of sales that I've just mentioned, Mr. B. And also you could put your stuff on YouTube. You know, some people put their stuff on YouTube. There's lots of platforms online that actually taking short form content, feature length, or any content. And all you just need to do, Google, where can I send my film? Where can I put my phone? And then Google will give you a lot of that information.
Okay, there is a question there on the screen. How do we get a hold of you, and what is your company called?
Yeah, and I'll be frank. I mean, I did say my company is AAA Entertainment. So if you go to our website, I'm sure Mr. B, you can put up my website there. And I do, if someone wants to send a form, there's a form that you have to fill in there. You can tell me what your form is all about, what do you need from me. And it makes it easier for me to scan the information. Imagine if I gave my number to everyone, people will be calling me every day. I mean, I made that mistake. I was somewhere in Limpopo. I get like a WhatsApp at 2 a.m. in the morning. Hey, my brother, check my video. All of a sudden, I'm like, your brother. I mean, I can understand the sentiments. My brother, check my video. At night, I'm sleeping. I'm busy with my kids. Hey, check my video. Why are you not coming back to me? You said I must take your number. And I'm avoiding those things. I do in my company, of course, there's people for each and everything. So if you send your stuff, it might come to some of my staff and they might check it out. They might respond back to you. Or my partner who also deals a lot with acquisitions. And so I think that's basically, there's a lot of people in my company who can look at the property. So if you go to my website, it's always the best thing. So it's www.a-entertain.com.
entertain.com.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But
like
also,
this, right?
That's the one. But like I said, my advice would be, there's a lot of distribution companies, right, in South Africa that may actually be fit for your property. I may not be the right one because your thing maybe might not fit within the values of my company, but do Google South African distribution companies. Sometimes, people, so many people have got their phones, they've got cell phones, and they've got YouTube, WhatsApp, they've got Google Chrome on their phones, but they don't use it. So I would say just Google South African distribution companies and go through their website, find out which one is a fit for you. And oftentimes, there's always going to be one that fits your phone. If you go to them, then they'll be able to tell you, what their process is.
Wow, that is amazing. But in a nutshell, then, what would you say to a filmmaker who is saying, look, I've got a film and I'm trying to find maybe innovative ways of distributing it? What would be your answer there?
Yeah, I think there's many ways you can take your film to the market, right? Like I said, I did mention online. You could put it directly to a platform, or depending again, of your film. Some people do public screenings. Some people do go direct to blog. So it's difficult to say innovative way because you have to understand what already exists. And what exists, if you can get your film to what already exists, and then you think you can do something differently, then it's I mean, I don't know what that is. But I do think already what exists is innovative enough. It gives you a variety of so many options, to get your film into. And I think sometimes people think too much about distribution, or they think too much about where to put their thing because they think maybe there's something better. There can't be something better if you don't know what's already happening. So if you haven't tried everything else, then I would say there's nothing better out there.
There's a question for you there.
Yeah, I think the cost varies. They vary from 15% to 35%. And it all depends on the property, The main benefit is I am able to negotiate and take your property to the global market. I can show to as many platforms as possible, to as many television stations as possible. So that's what the middleman does. Remember, the middleman only eats when you eat. You get what I'm saying? So middlemen won't have bread on the table if you as a filmmaker don't have bread on the table. You get what I'm saying, Mr. B? Is you have to, as a middleman, I can only make money when I make money for you. So those are the benefits. I'm highly motivated to make money for you so that I can make money. So that's what it is. Yeah, I think the issue of mentoring, I mean, I do have a lot of people that I work with, right? And our industry is very small. So yes, we are definitely open to mentoring people. Oftentimes we do that in the company, when we get a chance to bring in young people. So I do think there is definitely opportunities for that.
Okay. Mayanzeke, we like we said, this is a relaxed discussion. Thank you so much so far. But I've had a little challenge um, with the guys that are in the hall. They
Yeah.
seem to be a little bit behind this broadcast, so I want to buy them some time to catch up. So
Yeah.
I will ask you 4 minutes comfort breaking, Yana. You can stretch a bit. I'm gonna put a video that's gonna be 4 minutes long, and then they will skip and catch up with us, right?
Okay, no problem.
If you don't mind. So please stay with me.
Okay, cool.
All right. I say, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, my brother.
Yes, yes. No, I think we can continue. They are now up to date
Yeah,
that side.
yeah. I think. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
if again, I would like to field a couple of questions if they do exist. But I think maybe if there's no questions, I think my advice again will be, the thing around, distribution is such an important part of the value chain. See it this way,
Mm,
I mean, not many people have got lawyers, right? And not many
mm,
people have access to massive legal costs, and these costs often in distribution are taken care of in the feed. When you have to sign this contract, I find a lot of people going into these contracts with their eyes closed. Someone get a contract, they sign it without understanding the underlying terms. I've met many filmmakers who they've sold their rights, let's say to MultiChoice or SABC, but then they want to sell it to ETV, and they just go ahead without understanding that they've already sold it. But a distributor helps you to window these rights, negotiate better deals, exploit your film to many platforms. Like, remember what I said earlier on was that I only make money when you make money, Mr. B. You know the experience, right? So for me that's my motivation. So for you, your motivation is to get your film to a platform and make it. So it doesn't really matter how much they pay you. But for me, I'm about maximizing your revenue. If your revenue is more, which means there's more for me in my pocket. Well, that's my job in the end of the day. So I think that's
absolutely.
the key thing
Mm,
about engaging a distributor. But again, it's depending where you are and what you do in the value chain. And I would say it's always difficult for up and coming filmmakers to just start talking about, the distribution. It's always difficult because it's something that can be foreign. Distribution is not even taught it from schools. So I do think the key thing about is first hone your skill. Make sure that you can create and craft something great. And once you've done that, then do definitely engage, because there's no most distributors, especially in South Africa, they tend to work a lot with the advanced filmmakers because it makes sense, and that's where they are what do you call this in their role is appreciated to a certain degree. But I think but again, they're not necessarily exclusive. I do think there are opportunities and there are films out there, that needs to go to platforms and just people don't know how to do it. So yeah, like I said, ping me on my um, on our website. But
yeah.
the thing about when you create something, it has to be quality. Quality is not necessarily just in the video, but in the story must be quality. The way you deliver it must be quality. Everything is all about quality, because our audience in South Africa is not stupid. Our people aren't stupid. They're watching great content. Now you're gonna give them something that is of less value. They're not gonna watch it. So give them great stories, great content. And the more and more, I mean, you can see stuff happening on Moja Love, on Zanzi Magic. There's lots of local content in the SABC, and it's getting better and better and better every day. So, you are competing against those things. And I'm not using any of these international platforms, just even the local. The great stories, the entertainment value is high. So whatever you're creating has to have of entertainment value, has to be great quality, and you will find distribution. But if it doesn't hit those boxes, it's going to be difficult to find it. So
Yeah, yeah. What challenges, and this is in closing. I know we only asked for an hour, so we got 5 minutes left of your time. What challenges do you face? Because I know budgets in SA in particular for producing movies is not as great as abroad. But and you are an international sales agent, so you're taking content from a place where it is created using smaller budgets, and you're taking it to markets that is sort of accustomed or used to high-end budgets. What's been your challenge in terms of that aspect of distribution?
yeah, Mr. B, to be honest, we do have good budgets in South Africa compared to the rest of the continent. So the challenge is stories that travel. our stories tend to be very local. So they work for our local market, right? So they'll work for SABC or ETV or Mzansi Magic, but they tend to be limited when it comes to the international market. And there are, of course, many of those that works, but there's still a lot that don't really hit that mark or that quality of story, because people will be very local, will be telling me about Rustenburg or something, but if you make it generic, remember, like I say, a love story is a love story. It doesn't matter whether the person comes from Mafikeng or comes from Rustenburg. The love story is a love story, irregardless of the town. So if you're creating an amazing story that people can watch and laugh and cry everywhere in the world, it will work. So I think that's what it is. I think people tend to want to make stories just for their market. They think of their grandmother next door and they start naming the Maftan. Everything becomes about Mafikeng, not about the story. So I think those are the challenges. And of course, even when someone has created something amazing here, Mr. B, no one even think of sending stuff outside the outside South Africa. So just to be able to deliver that content to the platform has always been the biggest challenge. People don't have the right format, they don't have the right things and the right paperwork. If they haven't cleared, maybe they use DJ Smooth's music without even asking him. So
and this, I'm sorry to come in there, because I actually would need you to also just give a brief breakdown. There are deliverables. I am sure those are usually a nightmare, particularly with projects that you just get. I understand when you are there, when you're involved from the beginning, you would say, look, we are going to require subtitles, we are going to require all this. But when you're already receiving a finished product and you really, what are the challenges of those in terms of deliverables? And can you mention the key deliverables that you would like filmmakers out there to always keep in mind? Because I think filmmakers don't really budget properly for even their post-production.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's getting dark. Just hold on, Mr. B.
Okay.
Now you can see me, right?
Yeah. Now you are much nicer. I can bring you in now.
So I think I mean it varies again, right? And I use an example. Let's say you want to make something that the rest of the world want to see. And remember, the rest of the world doesn't speak Zulu, Setswana, or any of those, And some people don't even speak English. So you have to be able to make it into sell into the language that those people speak. French, Germany, Portuguese, Spanish. Now, the biggest challenge there is what's called music and effects. And M&Es is separate. M&Es is always a challenge, because if I have to dub it, normally, we used to watch dub stuff, right, on SABC long time ago. So for me to dub your property, I need to have those right deliverables. And on top of it, I need to have, people tend to put subtitles, and then also those subtitles are bent into the video. It doesn't work. I need to be able to take those subtitles, and if I'm translating to subtitles in China, I need to be able to have separate subtitles. So I need to have like a better video quality. I need to have photos, for promotion, graphics, posters, right posters in the right format, so I could change it. I need also to know that you've cleared all your music. I need to know that you've got contracts with all your actors, all the clearance that exists. So those are the major things that I probably need. But often it doesn't exist. People just make the form, bent in subtitles, send me in whatever format they have and say, there it is. But I can't do anything with it. So
I can imagine. So this is the last question. 1 second, I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah, this is probably one thing I always tell people no. I mean, how do you come to me and ask me for a letter if you don't know what it is? Right? And the question says, funding application always asks funders for letter of distribution. Can you help with such letter? Why? Why do you need that letter? You see, and it's a question, why does the funder need that letter? And it comes down to the facts, because yes, the funder understands that distribution is key, right? But filmmakers, I get a lot of filmmakers coming to me, Mr. Say, give me an LOI, man. I'll even pay you for it. I just want to be able to get that money. No, it doesn't work like that. It's my reputation is stake. I can't say I love letter of interest means a letter of intent means I intend to take your film to the market. So I'm not just gonna write the letter with no intention. So I need to know if it's a good film, if it's gonna market, if it's gonna work. And this is the question. Yes, LOIs we do give them for sure, but I need to know that the project is good enough and that the project
Absolutely.
is something that's going to work, not just because a funder is asking for it or someone
Absolutely.
wants to fund. And this is why people, like I said, then they think they can just cut out the middleman because and write a distribution letter themselves. No, it doesn't work. What we do is of great importance. And hence the funders ask, because what we do is to mitigate the risk of the financing, to say if this property has got a potential of earning and returning your money back, and that's why I give you a letter of intent, and I intend to take it to the market, which in this letter I've kind of highlighted and say I'm going to take it there, I'm going to take it there. Those are my intentions. If I don't have intentions, why must I give you the letter? So just that question is, I don't just write random letters. I don't do that. Maybe other distributors do it, but I don't do it. I only give a letter of intent if I think the property will work.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Mayanzeke. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for your time. Truly, truly appreciate. And I'm hoping that the people that have been listening to you, they have been edified. Now they know something else, and they've understood the challenges that you face as well as a distributor. And you are doing a great job, by the way. If
Thanks,
I can
Mr.
say so
David.
myself, we see you, and it's amazing. It's you are a very important part of the entire value chain of South Africa. So thank you so much for that, man. Truly appreciate your time. All right.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Mr. B. It was great chatting
Thank
to
you.
you, and of course to all those guys watching and listening. And I hope they've learned something of great value. So I do think, as I said, just distribution is number one. If without distribution, it's difficult to live and sustain your business in this industry.
Yeah, it all starts there.
Awesome. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, my brother. Take care, man. Chat soon. Okay,
Cheers.
bye.
Bye.